Morning you guys, it's Karen and I'm doing a video like no other I've ever done. I'm a little bit nervous about it because I've been asked for this a couple of times whenever I've mentioned my dear universe or the secret, etc. And I just sort of thought, oh goodness, how would I explain it and how would I do it? But I just wrote myself down some notes. No spreadsheet, but I just wrote myself down notes. And I thought this is what's happened to me, exactly how it works, a bit of background, that kind of thing. So hopefully this will explain it. I'll probably call this video something like how to get whatever you want in life, or something dramatic like that, I think, because that is kind of the premise behind it. So for those of you that don't follow me regularly or don't perhaps know, I'm not a believer in, I'm not religious, I don't have a particular faith. I don't not believe in God, but I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the afterlife. And I've just mentioned this previously, which is how the dear universe thing came up again. But what I do believe in is the power of the mind. And I have ghost stories, which I've told you guys before. Oh, I've just remembered I didn't link the ghost stories on my other video, so I need to write that down. I hate that. I'm so bad at doing that, you know, saying, oh, I'll link that below, and then I forget to do it. But I have some ghost stories, I have some things that have happened to me. But I looked into psychics and I've read a book by Darren Brown, and I've read a lot on cold reading, and the power of the mind is just absolutely amazing. So I believe in the power of the mind, and I find it bizarre that some people are religious but don't believe in the power of the mind. But the power of the mind is a scientific fact. It's not a faith. It is something that is actually there. It's not disputed. It is an actual thing. So a lot of magic that's done on TV, etc., is based on the power of the mind. But I thought it would be useful for you to know kind of what my feelings are on religion and faith, etc. Just in case there's any of you like me that are huge cynics, because I want you to know, yes, I'm a cynic and I question everything. And so these, when I first read it, I was a bit like, really, you just say this and it happens, you know? But I've looked into it, I've researched it, and it makes sense to me. There is a part of the process or the formula, whatever you like to call it, that certainly the secret anyway, that talks about vibrations, and that when you repeat things out loud, it sends vibrations out to the universe which eventually come back to you. I'm not really working on that premise at all. I'm working more on, well, I'll explain how I think it works as I go along. But what I wanted to give you was just a couple of examples of how powerful the mind is. And one of them you will have maybe heard me mention before in a vlog. And it's quite a sad one, but it doesn't make me sad now. But I always had a memory of my stepfather, who, let's just say, wasn't overly nice to us. I had a memory of finding him on the stairs in a house that we lived in. And he was just sort of floppy. And I remember thinking he was dead, and I was telling my dad this, my own father, a couple of years ago, not that many years ago, maybe 5 years ago or something. I was telling my dad, oh, I remember when Roger tried to kill himself and I found him. And my dad looked at me and he said, no, that was me. And I was like, what do you mean it was you? And he said, the exact situation you're talking about, on the stairs, at the bottom of the stairs, top of the stairs, wherever it was, he said, that was you. And it was, my dad was telling me, you know, you'd been taken away, you were going to live with Roger, but I'd forgotten my teddy. I went back for my teddy. They took me back and said, run in and get your teddy. And my dad had taken an overdose, and I found him. He was rushed to hospital, he didn't succeed. But can you imagine that most of my life, that happened when I was 3 or 4 years old. And I have that memory, or maybe I was older than that, maybe I was 5 or 6. I have that memory, but in that memory it was very, very clear that it was Roger that I found. There was no picture of my dad in my memory at all, and that is the power of the mind helping you cope with things that obviously my mind couldn't cope with it being my dad, so it placed somebody else in that picture. That's one not so nice example. A better example is at the hospital where I worked. On the cancer ward, we had a big study done where, and actually it was great because volunteers came in, makeup artists, and did makeovers for everybody that was having chemotherapy. And it was almost unanimous, people's results were better that day than any other day. Like, they felt better. They were given questionnaires and things, and they felt better about themselves. They felt more positive about the future. But there was a couple of patients that hadn't been responding well to their chemotherapy, and their treatment began to improve, just simply because they had been made to feel more beautiful, if you like, better, confident, you know, whatever. So that's another great example. So you may have heard snippets of this before, but it's the kind of thing where you'll read, wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful. If you have any problems with believing that, just wake up in the morning and say it whether you believe it or not. And I think that's the first I read about it years and years ago. It was in a magazine or something, and I thought, oh, how ridiculous, and I'd feel so stupid saying that. But it's basically, that's all it is. It's what you say subconsciously will affect your conscious mind. It's one part of the mind will affect the other part of the mind. And if, with that example, if you tell yourself you're beautiful, it's not that you'll suddenly feel beautiful, but if you keep on doing that, your conscious mind will have heard those words and will work to find ways to make that a truth, to find ways to make that happen. Whether that is you start taking more care of yourself, you buy a new lipstick, you do something different that makes you feel beautiful, it will find ways to fulfill that. So that's kind of the background and the theory behind it, etc. I'll tell you how you do it and then give you examples of how I did it and what happened as a result. And then I'll give you the specifics about what you need to do going forward and what I'm going to do next. So you need to write to the universe and say, so you literally get a piece of paper, you can either type it or write it, it doesn't matter. And there are two ways of doing it. You either do it as in, dear universe, this is what I would like in my life. And then you write down specific things, or you can write, dear universe, thank you for this lovely life I'm living. And you write it as if you are already living that life. So I think I've done it both ways with both of the examples I'm going to give you. In fact, I'm going to give you 3 examples. The first time I did it, I think it was, dear universe, thank you very much for this wonderful life I'm living. This is what I would like to happen now. And then with the second one, I did it, dear universe, I'm living in this wonderful house, yada yada, you know, and did it as if I was already living this wonderful life. I'll tell you what I wrote and I'll tell you what happened. So at the time, we were searching for the house that we live in now. And it's very, very difficult to find property that is affordable, that is big enough for our needs, that has parking for one car, let alone 2. We've got 2 cars and we wanted parking for 2 cars. I wanted it to be within walking distance of restaurants. I wanted it to be big enough that I could have a room. I didn't know I was going to do YouTube at the time, but I wanted to have a vanity area. That was kind of part of my deal. I wanted to have a dining room. I wanted to be able to afford a dining table. There was a lot I wanted, and we spent a year and a half looking. And at kind of the end of the search, everybody was telling us, you are not going to find what you're looking for the price you want to pay. You're going to have to either pay more, or you're going to have to settle for 2 bedrooms, not 3, or, you know, 1 public room, not 2, or no parking, or something like that, or not close to town, all of this kind of thing. So I had written, I don't know exactly at what point, but I had written this, dear universe, about the house. I had written things about my health. I'd written things about relationships that I won't really go into, but just things like, you know, I'd still like to go out to lunch with my best friend and have a great relationship, strong relationship with my dad, that kind of thing. But about my health, I wrote about, I wanted to be able to walk in the house without insoles in. I wanted to be able to potter around the house without my insoles in and not have knee pain. So I wrote this letter, and it would have been something like, I haven't kept it, but it's something like, dear universe, I love this house so much. Thank you so much for providing this house. It has 3 bedrooms, a massive living room, a big dining room. I've got a beautiful dining room table, and we often have family dinners around this dining table. It was like a story. And I said, just down the road are some restaurants. We're easily able to park both of our cars. We managed to get it for a great price. I'm so happy that we don't have a huge mortgage hanging over our head. So I wrote like that about the house, and like I said, I did that before we'd found anything, and at the end, people were telling us it was impossible. And I wrote, I'm so happy that I can walk around without having to wear insoles 100% of the time, and that it's not causing me pain. My joints are much better. I then didn't really look at it. No, not really. I didn't look at it again until probably a few months after I'd moved in here. It wasn't very long after I'd moved into this flat we're in now. And I got it out, and it was just, I couldn't believe it. To me, it was like magic, because everything that I'd written on there had come true. It was like, I was reading it and I was like, this is the exact house I'm living in. It has 2 big public rooms. I have 3 bedrooms. I have my own studio in here with a vanity area. I have a beautiful dining table. We have restaurants just down the road from us. We've got plenty of restaurants within walking distance. We can both easily park our cars. It's free parking, and we got it for a great price because it was a repossession, and we didn't even get it because we bid the lowest. We got it because we could move in the quickest, so they accepted our lower bid where somebody else bid higher. And I just couldn't believe how much of this on this had come true. I wish I could be more succinct with these videos. I know some of you don't mind, but I'm sure there's a way I could be a bit more to the point. Anyway, so because that one was so successful, I decided to write another one. And so I have my beautiful house. There's not much more I need from that. Everything's going well in my relationships. What I wanted was to be able to work from home, because I was working for the NHS as a research manager, but my health was bad in that I was in a lot of pain with my joints, and it was just getting more and more difficult to drag myself to work every day, you know, to get up and drive, and just it was difficult work, and there was many reasons why it was. So I thought, right, I'm going to put that I would like to work from home, and I don't know how this is going to be possible, but that's what I want. I want to be doing the same job, and I thought I have to specify doing the same job working from home. And I thought, oh, well, if I'm working from home, I could get a dog, because I've always wanted a dog. So I thought I'll write that in it as well. And I thought, you know what, being as we're asking for things, we'd used up all of our savings redoing this house, because it was, like I said, a repossession. It didn't even have a toilet in it. They'd ripped everything out of it. I'll ask for a lump sum of money. So I wrote down again, and this time I did it in the way of, dear universe, thank you for giving me this lovely house. What I would like now is by, and I gave it a date, by November 2014 or whatever it was, I would like to be working from home in the same job. By December 2014, I would like to have a dog. In fact, it was December 2014 that I said I would like to have a dog, or I will have a dog. I think it's more purposeful than that. We got Watson in January. And I would like a lump sum of, I can't remember how much I said, but it's around about what I've got in redundancy. So I put that all down, and again, I put it away. I didn't read this. The idea is you're supposed to read it constantly and remind yourself of your goals, but I didn't. I just put it away like I did the last one. And I got it out just after I found out I was redundant. I was looking through my paperwork for something and found it, and I showed it to Kev, and we kind of laughed because he said, well, there you go. He said, you didn't specify when you said you wanted that lump sum of money that you didn't want to lose your job. But I was amazed because I looked at it and I said to him, look at that. I said I wanted to work from home. I said that I wanted a dog. You know, everything came true. And I think it's not magic, it's not luck. What it is because I'd written it down that I would like to work from home. Somebody mentioned to me at some point between writing the letter and me asking to work from home that there was a change in law in the working from home criteria, and it was that employers weren't able to say no without having a really good business reason. And that's the point of these things. I don't know whether this will make sense, but had I not written that down, it might have been a comment that I didn't pay attention to. But because you've put that intention into your subconscious mind, your brain will pick up on it, and it will hear the things you need to hear. And I may not, like I said, that may have been something, if I hadn't have been thinking, oh, there's no point, I'm never going to work from home anyway, it was just an idea, I may not have paid attention to the person that was saying to me, the law has changed in working from home. I may not have asked, you know, I may have just heard the comment but not thought anything of it. But I heard the comment and I went and asked, and I'm pretty sure that's because I put that down on paper and it was there, and so your conscious mind then tries to catch up and make that happen. So yeah, again, I'd achieved everything that I'd put on this list. Actually, no, that's not true. I hadn't achieved everything, because on both sheets of paper, I should mention that I also said about losing weight, and that's never happened. But I think what that is even when I was writing it, I could feel that, but I don't want to stop eating. I like eating. I really like my food. You've got to really want something, you know. And for me, I have lost weight successfully in my life, but you need to have such a desire to do it. and the desire to lose weight needs to be bigger than your desire to enjoy the food that you enjoy, and it just hasn't. I haven't been at that point just yet. One more quick example and then I'll go on to exactly how you can do it going forward. So I told Kev about this second one and he was like, oh, okay, yeah, now I'm starting to believe it a little bit, because he's a little bit cynical about it, which I just don't get, because I'm saying to him, my friend's the same actually. My friend was cynical until I told her what happened, and she's now done a Dear Universe, I believe. And I said to him, how can you be cynical? It's not magic. I'm not saying that you're conjuring up spirits. I'm saying that this is how the subconscious mind works. And what harm will it be to write something down on a piece of paper? You know, what have you got to lose? Nothing. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. You don't have to make yourself look like a fool. You just have to write stuff down and that's it, and forget about it. Anyway, for him, he was in a job that he hated and has been for the last 2 years, and has been looking for a job the last 2 years. And so I said to him, well, let's write that down, and let's write down your golf goal, and I want a new job by X date and I want to be earning X amount of money. So he was looking for a new job, actually, that we were prepared for him to take about a £10,000 cut so that he could get better hours, be closer to home, etc. That's what we were prepared to do. But he wrote on this little post-it note, I will have a new job by April 2015, so April this year, earning X amount of money. And then he put his golf handicap goal, and he put it on a post-it and he put it on his wall. So it wasn't quite as complex as mine. You don't have to write a big long letter. If there's just one thing you want, write it on a post-it, stick it somewhere where you'll see it. So he put that above his notice board. And the thing with Kev is, it isn't like, I can't say that he wasn't looking for work before, but now he's put that intention in his mind. He's looking for different jobs, but it might well open up your mind to more, like you might get offered a job, a communication by an agency, for example, and say, you know what, I'm going to go for that, because in your subconscious, you're going to get a new job by April. You know, that might have happened, but he was certainly looking for jobs very, very well. He was doing a good job of looking for jobs. It's quite a full-time job looking for jobs. Anyway, he put that on his notice board, and he got offered a new job, and he resigned in April. And he phoned me and told me about it, and I took the post-it off the wall in his bedroom, and I put it on the dining table, and I put at the bottom, just saying, because he was very cynical about it. And, you know, he came home and he just laughed and he said, yeah, I suppose so. So now he's got his golf one for what handicap he wants to have, you know, and I don't know how far he is towards that. He keeps telling me he's playing rubbish. Like yesterday he came home and I said to him, how did you play? And I was thinking, oh no, he's not going to get his handicap, and then he's not going to think the power of the mind works. You know, he's going to then think it's all rubbish. But he said he didn't play very well, and then he got his results on his computer and went, oh, I was number 14 out of 150. And I was like, well, you didn't play that badly then, did you? You know, this is one of the reasons I didn't want to do this video, because it's ended up really long, because on subjects like this I can get really involved and I could probably talk for a couple of hours on the subject, you know. So this, believe it or not, is me cutting myself down and not saying a lot of stuff. So how do you do this? Okay, the first thing you do is you have to start off being grateful. And actually being grateful, you'd be amazed how much that will get you. And that, I could talk about that on another subject, and actually Oprah's talked a lot about that. But if you just write a daily kind of, I'm grateful for this, or think I'm grateful for this, that actually produces in itself, it's like produces like. So if you feel lucky, you'll be lucky. So you have to start off the letter by saying, Dear Universe, thank you for, and say the things that you are grateful for. So for me, Dear Universe, thank you for the fact that Kev has a new job, that I have a lovely home. This is what I'd like next. So that's your first way of doing it. Well, on both ways, you write the grateful thing. Then the next thing you do is write a list of what you want. So, Dear Universe, I would like to be earning X amount of money by this date. Or, like I said, you can write it as a story. So, Dear Universe, thank you for this wonderful life I've got. I'm loving the fact that I'm earning X amount of money, and I'm loving my job. I love the people I work with. It's at this area. You need to be very specific. This is the biggest thing, is be specific. There's no point saying, and be realistic, like, I want to win the lottery. I mean, that's not realistic, you know, and that's not something, it's got to be achievable, but it can be big. You can dream big, but not like, I want to win £1 million tomorrow. That's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be achievable, but it needs to be specific. So I want to lose weight. that's not going to work. I want to lose 10 pounds by December 2015. That's a specific goal. So you need to be very, very specific, regardless of whether you're doing it as a story or whether you're doing it as goals. You also need to not include any negative words in it. And that's something I'm trying to remove from my vocabulary, actually. And I annoy myself because one of the biggest things I do is when my knee is sore, I say to Kev, oh God, my knee's killing me. And that's not a good thing to say. You shouldn't be saying anything like that, because that's what your subconscious mind will hear. I mean, perhaps I shouldn't vocalise it, you know, and Kev doesn't vocalise when he's in pain, actually. But I should maybe say my knee is sore today, but not my knee is killing me, you know. But in this Dear Universe letter, you can't use any negatives. That's actually harder than it sounds, but there's a very good reason for it. The subconscious mind will not hear negatives. They will hear the actual word. So if you say, I don't want to have any headaches, it will just take headaches and want. It won't take the don't part. So you need to not say headaches. You would need to say, I would like to be, you can't even say pain-free. It's like I said, it's very, very difficult. It's been very difficult for me to write down my goals about health. I'm going to have a completely clear head. The headaches one is too difficult. I can't even remember how I wrote that, but let me talk about the knee pain one, because the way I did that was the orthotics. So I said, I will be able to walk around my house without orthotics in comfortably. And I think I even put for up to an hour. I can now walk around the house without orthotics in, and I am in pain if I walk for too long, but I never used to be able to walk at all around the house without orthotics. So I've no idea why that's changed. Absolutely no idea. So next on my list is I would like to be able to wear sandals, because you can't fit orthotics in all sandals. I'd like to be able to wear sandals for up to an hour without any, no, I can't say without any pain, because like I said, you can't say anything negative. I would like to comfortably be able to wear sandals for up to an hour. So that's a better example, I think. But the pain one is very difficult. With the, say, relationship, say you want to have a better relationship with your mum, you wouldn't say, I don't want any more arguments with my mum. You would say, I want to have a better and more open, honest relationship with my mum that will be improved by the end of this year, that kind of thing. But like I said, it's all about specifics. Let me just look at my little list here. No negatives, specifics. That's pretty much it. It can be as long or as short as you want it to be. It can be 3 pages long. It can be 2 lines long. Like I said, Kev's is just on a post-it. I will have a new job by April, earning X amount of money. Mine is, my last one was about 2 pages. And I even put it in categories. I had family, money, work, health. My next one is not going to be as long. I'd say my next one will be about a page long, and I will be, what will I be saying? I've put down here, my big thing will be about my photography, because I'm not sure where it's going. The trouble is, you kind of need to know exactly what you want, because the more you know about what you want, the better you'll be able to get it. Whereas with my photography, I know that I want to be earning money from photography. I'm just not sure how. I'm not sure if I want a studio, for example, because I don't know if that will work out. So I'm going to write, I would like to be earning, and I haven't even worked out how much this is, but X amount of money from photography by June 2016, probably. I'll give myself to the middle of next year. So I'll probably write that. I will be writing things about my weight again, because I do feel a lot more motivated now. So I'll say that I want to lose 10 pounds by whenever, like I said, it's got to be realistic. I will also write some things about my health, because my blood pressure has gone up again, and my cholesterol. So I will write, my cholesterol will be X amount by such and such a date, and my blood pressure will be such and such by such and such a date. That's really important to me, because once I put that into my subconscious, I know that then I'll be more able to achieve that. And there'll be things like noticing how much salt I put on. It's so simple. It's such a simple method, but saying and writing it on a piece of paper, you wouldn't believe the difference between lying and daydreaming and writing something on a piece of paper. It's actually putting it there. It's setting it in stone. Because at first when I read about it, I thought, well, I think these things, I lie and dream about these things at night, so why is it any different writing it on a piece of paper? It just is. There's something in your subconscious that works that way. You write it down, it becomes an intention. And so I know by writing down, I will reduce my blood pressure, that my conscious will notice the times I'm using salt, and that's something that helps my blood pressure reduce. As to what you do with the letter when you finished it, you can write it. My friend Tracy was asking me, does it have to be on a piece of paper? Does it have to be typed? And I said, no, it can be anywhere you want. So she's put hers on her phone, on her iPhone, and I don't know whether she's reading it or not. I meant to ask her actually yesterday when I saw her, but you can put it on a piece of paper and hide it away, like I did. But it's better if you read it, because the more you read it, the more it will sink into your subconscious, and the quicker you should achieve it really, and the more you can remind your conscious brain of what you want to achieve. But like I said, I put both of my letters in my box and ignored them, but with Carefree got this little post-it on the wall. You could do it on your phone, and then on your phone, in fact I might well do mine on my phone, because that would be easier to read more regularly, and if I forget about it, then hey ho, it's the same as the letters, So that's it. A long video, I know, but hopefully you don't mind, because you requested it, and I feel like everything I've told you is relevant. It will help you to understand and believe in what you're writing. There's 2 books that I have found to be helpful and that kind of help me understand all of this, although they are a bit far-fetched, I would say. So the first one is The Secret, and I actually listened to it on tape. I don't know why. Oh, I know, because you can't read while you're driving, and I wanted to listen to something that was going to help me get the future I wanted whilst I was driving to work. I had a 40-minute drive, so I wanted to use that drive for something useful, and I listened to The Secret, but I didn't like the lady's accent. It was just it just was a voice that grated on me, but you can get it on tape. So The Secret, and like I said, it's a little bit too far-fetched for me. She does things like you get a bank statement and you change it into millions of pounds, but the basis of it is exactly what I'm telling you with this whole Dear Universe. What you put out there is what you get back. Really useful to me. You know what else I'm going to put on my list about Watson? Definitely going to put Watson on my list. Something to do with he will be nice and quiet and well trained by next year. The other one is called, I think it's called You Can Heal Your Life, but it's by Louise Hay. I'll put both of the books that I'm recommending below for you. And that one is the same kind of thing. Now, Louise Hay actually healed herself of cancer without any chemotherapy. So that's a really interesting one to me. She did that with the power of the mind. I think you'd have to be a very specific person to do that. Me personally, I wouldn't, despite me believing in all of this, give me the drugs. That's where I'm at, but with something like this, I do think it works. The final thing I wanted to say though is if you think that you're unlucky, you'll be unlucky. And I have mentioned this before, and it's happened in this giveaway. You guys that have watched, I've done a kind of secret giveaway, if you like, that runs out maybe after I put this video up. I'm not sure. Not long until the closing date. But even with that one, I've got ones, I've got emails or comments saying, I hope I win, because I never win anything. And I feel so sad for that type of person. And I know a lot of people like this. Oh, it's terrible, this always happens to me. Because I think you've got a computer, or you've got access to a computer or a phone. You've got access to technology, which would suggest that you have food on your table and you can pay your rent. You have a phone at least, or a computer or an iPad. You have something. You're not in a bad way, and you have the ability with your hands to type that comment. So you're not in a bad way. And I just think it's really sad when people think themselves so unlucky. And when they say, I never won anything, I never win anything. I've never won anything. I don't consider that to be unlucky, because why should you get something for free? Somebody in the world would have won it that needed it. And I'm okay with that, And I just think if you go into this thinking it will never happen to me, then it might not work for you. You have to be grateful. It's like I said at the beginning, you have to be grateful for what you've got, and you have to feel a certain amount of luck. And it annoys me when people say to me, you're so lucky, in one way, because I'm like, I'm not lucky. I've worked very hard for everything I've got. But then I feel lucky, I do feel like there's a lot of things that have worked to my advantage and that are luck. So you do need to feel a certain amount of gratitude and luck yourself. So that's everything. I am actually going to go now and write my list, because it's on my daily to-do list is Dear Universe. So that's one of the things that I've got to do, is to write my Dear Universe list. And then I'm probably not going to put mine on the wall. I will write it down. I'm going to add some Watson things into it, and I will probably fold it up and put it in my box, and then I'll probably put a kind of summary of it on my phone so that it's there for me to check, to look at and see how I'm doing with it, you know. If you've got any questions on this, please feel free to put them below. I'm sure everybody will have comments on this and what you think of it and what you don't, etc. So please feel free to leave those below. And I would love to know what your kind of goals are and everything. And even if you don't want to write a whole list, put it in the comments here. You know, I'd like to have such and such by such and such a date. Put it in the comments, and then, you know, hopefully that will be your intention. And tell us as well if you've done it and it's worked for you. I think that's everything. I will tell you what's on my face. I have got on YSL Fusion Ink Foundation, which I'm nearly out of. So I'm going to have to buy another one because I just love it. Love my Fusion Ink Foundation. On my eyes, I've got, it's called, I think it's called Sex Kitten. It's a Bare Minerals Loose Eyeshadow. And then MAC Petal Power Blush. And then this is just a number 7 nude, I think it's called Nude or Perfect Nude, something like that, lip liner. Thank you so much for watching today and bearing with me. Best of luck with your Dear Universe goals, and I'll speak to you again soon.